Hey guys, Dr. Josh Axe here. So stoked to continue our series on the 5 elements of Chinese medicine. I got my buddy Andrew here. Andrew,
hey, how's it going?
Buddy?
Pleasure.
Good. And so today we're going to talk about specifically, when we're going to talk about earth element, we're going to find out today if you are in fact an earth element. Right. And this is so important. As we're talking about Chinese medicine, this is the first form of personalized medicine, and a lot of times people think, hey, there's only one way that everyone should eat. Maybe it's keto or paleo or vegan. The truth is that everybody's diet should be somewhat different, and this is the first way of really looking at a diet, and it's similar to kind of like an Enneagram or a DISC profile or Myers-Briggs, where your personality type actually historically determined some of the way that we should be eating or things we should be aware of in terms of health risks. So we're going to get into all that today, and so first off, let's talk about, so I know you took a quiz online, right?
I actually didn't take a quiz.
Oh, you didn't take a quiz.
So I was told that I was an earth element, and part of what I want to ask you today is, does that seem like me based on things I say? Just to see if that's actually accurate.
Yes, looking at somebody's physical appearances. So when I'm looking at somebody's physical appearance, earth elements tend to have round features. So they tend to have a slower metabolism, so that it's harder for them to lose weight. They tend to have bigger, stronger legs. And in terms of complexion, it tends to be more of a, sometimes sometimes a yellow undertone compared to siblings or people in their family. But as much as, as we're talking about that though, the other thing I would say is really looking at the personality characteristics of, let me ask you what would describe you more.
Okay.
Do you think somebody would describe you more as being structured, organized, and focused? Do you think somebody would describe you more as being sort of the glue that holds their, people around them socially together, or somebody that loves, that gets excited about the goals of others, or somebody who is more reserved or withdrawn?
Probably some combination of being the glue for a whole bunch of people and also being the support. I love to see people succeed, and that's generally where my attention tends to go.
How very earth element of you.
Yeah.
So that's good.
That's what it seems.
So anyways, it does seem to me like you're an earth element in terms of your, in terms of everything you said, in terms of your body type, in terms of how you're describing yourself. Some important things to really think about and know about earth elements. Earth elements, their organ systems are related to their pancreas, spleen, and stomach. So it's your upper digestive system. And this is why, from an emotional standpoint, the thing that earth elements deal with when they get out of balance or really stressed is worry. So that's a common thing, is the worry. So think about this, if you ever worried so much you get like an upset stomach, that's because the emotion of worry affects your upper GI, okay? Whereas the emotion of anger affects your liver, the emotion of depression and grief affects your colon and lungs, the emotion of fear, so think about a child getting really scared, they could have a nightmare and wet the bed. That's because the emotion of fear affects the reproductive organs, the kidneys and the bladder. So, with earth elements, it's important to know that it's the emotion of worry that it affects those areas and really affects the pancreas, which is responsible for insulin levels. So when earth elements eat a poor diet and have this emotional stress of worry, those are taxing the pancreas. The pancreas is the organ known for, when it gets out of balance, it affects digestion. And sometimes diabetes, thinks digestion and blood sugar are the two things that are affected. So for you, if you get really stressed and worked up, do you ever notice it could affect your digestion or even blood sugar?
Yeah, so that, everything you're saying lines up, exactly.
A few other things that tend to happen with earth elements is they crave sweets, okay? Now, talking about metal elements, because a few things you've said today have been the organization sort of thing, that's very metal element. But metal elements like foods that are sort of pungent and full of flavor, whereas earth elements like things that are more sweet. They crave carbohydrates and sweets very often. And that's your body telling you something, but it's not that you need sugar, it's that your body is looking for foods that have a subtle sweetness, like pumpkin or sweet potato or cinnamon, things that have low sugar but that mild sweetness. Foods that are orange tend to be the most nourishing for an earth element. So again, pumpkin, sweet potatoes that I just mentioned, turmeric, these things are, cinnamon, which has sort of a reddish but also an orangish hint to it. Those tend to be really, really good for an earth element because they're good for satisfying sweetness, but also not being too high in sugar, and also like cinnamon helps balance out blood sugar. it's good for all those things. So it's really important for an earth element. And earth elements too, and I'm going to touch on metal here too, but earth elements, they really thrive with being around close friends.
Yes.
It's important that earth elements surround themselves with encouraging, supportive people. How would you say that relates to you?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if I'm with a group of friends, it's all about that bond. I can feel that. I don't necessarily need to be talking with people, just as long as I can feel that sort of connection and that closeness, 100%.
Yeah. And what you work here in customer service?
Yeah, so I'm actually on the Amazon team, the consumer advocate. If you guys ever go to our Amazon page and you see someone writing comments on all the reviews, if you ever reach out and ask for Andrew, I'm always the guy that's talking to everybody.
I love it. So one of the things you're doing in working in your area in gifting is you're connecting with people. That's what earth elements are known as, sort of the ultimate connectors with people. They're moderators. If there's a situation that needs to be diffused, they're good at creating, they're peacemakers. They're great at creating peace there as well. And so in earth elements, just for myself, I'm a wood element. I tend to surround myself with a lot of earth and water elements. My wife, Chelsea, she's a water element. And think about this as a wood element. Think of a tree. A tree really needs some water to grow, and it needs to plant itself in earth. And so a lot of people in my life that I'm closest to are earth elements, they're water elements. And so it's really interesting too to kind of see how these different sort of elements work together, like Chelsea and I in marriage, or you and I in working together. It's pretty unique. So I want to just go through for everybody a few things to know about earth elements. Number one, earth elements, and don't take offense to this, but if they were a dog, they'd be golden retrievers. They're like earth elements to me, like they are just fun and enjoyable to be around. Earth elements tend to be, they tend to crave sweets, okay? So they want sugar, and if that gets out of balance, they'll put on weight easily. It's something they need to be aware of in terms of how their metabolism functions. And it's really important too that earth elements are getting foods that support their blood sugar and their pancreas. The most important herb in Chinese medicine for earth elements is called astragalus. Astragalus is really good for strengthening your pancreas and spleen. Also followed by the herb cinnamon. So astragalus and cinnamon, the sort of those perfect herbs to really support. And turmeric would be another one. Those three in general are really great for earth elements. And again, if earth elements get out of balance, they can start to worry and even become obsessive. And think about like a mother, like when women actually give birth, that they could be all different elements, but they tend to become a little bit more earth element because earth element is sort of nurturing and mother nature. It's this nurturing characteristic. So I say all that because earth elements are very, they create community, they create harmony, they create love. This is what earth elements do. And so I know Andrew is doing a great job on our team, creating community, connecting with you guys on Amazon and some of our different platforms as well. And so again, earth elements, remember, you gotta be around people that are positive influences that you love connecting with. So, and this is really, not to go on a tangent here, but earth elements, it's a big deal. Earth elements, everybody becomes who they surround themselves with, but earth elements so deeply need to be around positive, supportive people on a regular basis and have a really strong sense of community. Number one, if you're an earth element. Number two, you got to be careful with diet. Don't overdo the sugar. Consume foods that are orange and some of those herbs I just mentioned. And then also as an earth element, you want to make sure that you are, that you're keeping sort of the worry low, not becoming obsessive, and just creating a good environment of friendships. And if you do that, you're going to be in your zone. You're going to be healthier for it.
It'd be great. Yeah.
Awesome, Andrew. Hey, thanks so much for coming on today. I appreciate it. Thanks everybody for watching.